Morning guys, this is Jeff at the Glorious Uncertainty on Sunday the 2nd of April. Right, there are two things I want to discuss. First of all, there is another video going out after this one which explains about standard times and the going and all that nonsense that goes with that, and it throws all the times out. But I'm just showing you what I do to combat that, to keep a little bit of sense and order about how you study the horses when the going is tough to look at. Right, first of all, and I haven't mentioned this for at least 2 months, but I'm going to mention it now. If you are just coming into this, and I'm going to backtrack to 1990, whenever, early 90s, in fact, very early 90s, you need to buy that book, right? Winners Always Back, Value Winners by Clive Holt. Clive Holt isn't with us anymore, God bless him. But that book, you need to buy it. Right, I'm going to warn you about this book now. The warning is this, that what you will do when you buy this book is you go straight to the formula of how you narrow down the field. I promise you will, this is what you'll do. But do that and familiarize yourself with the formula. You can actually see the formula online, but that's not the point. Buy the book, because this guy, Clive Holt, he was a professional backer for almost 20 years, and he was very, very knowledgeable about horse racing, about how to find potential winners. But that's Loxon on the front with Frankie, one of my favourite horses. Loxon, what a bloody horse that was. The Speed Queen, absolutely superb. Right, but Clive Holt, get the book, but read it. You have to read it. Don't just jump to the formula. Read it, because this is when you go online and you find out about Clive Holt, there's a lot of criticism about him. And one of them that always sticks in my mind was the only profit that came from Clive Holt's system was the sale of the books and what Clive Holt made of it. Well, that could be true. But the fact of the matter is, if you read the book, it tells you exactly what you should be doing. You use the bear ratings as just a starting point, and then you start looking deeper into the race on his advice. And I to this day use that formula, and I use his advice now, and every time. So when yesterday migration won, I always go, cheers Clive, thank you. Gone but not forgotten. But it is an excellent book, a very good read, but don't get carried away with the formula, because you need to do a lot more than just do the formula to turn a good profit. Okay, right, so talking about systems, which my system is an elaboration of Clive's system, it's an extension of that. Yesterday with the Lincoln, yeah, we had migration 1 at 18-1, bigger on the exchanges and all that, but we'll stick to what we said, which I told you to take 16-1, best odds guaranteed. It went out to 18, that's what's going on the account, okay? But one very interesting thing about yesterday and about going changes is, it seems to me with my system of selecting them, it actually works better than more testing the conditions. So in heavy going, it seems to be coming to its own. And just to just to prove that. I mean, okay, it's a sample of one, but it is a tough handicap, let's face it. So the Lincoln handicap, the system scorings, I gave you these scores. I gave you the scores when I put the bets out. Atrium, I felt, didn't have much of a run, to be honest with you. But anyway, it got beat. Migration 1, that scored 65 on the system. That won 18 to 1. Awal 63, second at 9 to 2. And then Majestic 60, fourth at 25 to 1. Now, if you go back to the video where I put the bet up, you can see that. Now, I'm not... Self-praise is no praise. I'm not banging on about that. All I'm doing, I'm not banging on about the winner. I'm showing you that the scoring system worked very, very well yesterday on the Lincoln, because I believe of the testing conditions. It just brought certain things to the fore. Where you have good going, the good going sort of quite a lot could act up on it, and then ones that suddenly sprout, you know, like the Pegasus horses, they just for some reason decide they're going to have a going day. They're allowed to do that on good going or good to firm. But as soon as it gets testing, it is a real test. But seems to show the ones, I think it was Reg that said about Migration's 1 mile 2 win on heavy going, which obviously I looked at that one when I went through it. So a system, when we're talking about systems, I can guarantee there out there in the big wide world, there is not one system, not one, that you could use on every race, right? And prove a profit. Because when people say it's an art, not a science, I'd agree with that. I'd have thought 75% of the time. Statistics come into it, you can't avoid statistics. But then the fine tuning of selecting a bet then comes into it, 25%. That 25% is the most important, I think. And when you're looking at horses and seeing the body language, don't forget these are animals with humans on, but when you watch them, you begin to see which ones like it. Especially with animal behaviour, you can tell the ones that don't like going to the front. You can see them. They get worried out of it because in the wild they are herds. They're in herds. That's what they do. One takes the lead and the other ones don't overtake it. And sometimes that's what happens. In races, it's genetically inbred into them. So when you watch, so you can have as many systems as you like, but the final bit that makes it an art, which is stood on top of a science, is watching the manner in which a horse finishes its races. And this is why you use the better the jockey, the better it is for the horse, because you can read the horse. I mean, all right, if we were just to take Rachel Blackmore as an example on Honeysuckle, right? You can or Holly Doyle. Look at Holly Doyle. One of the best races I think Holly Doyle's done recently, just coming away from Rachel Blackmore on the national hunt scene, was Sisters in the Sky. You watched that race, Sisters in the Sky, with Holly on it a couple of months ago. It might have been longer than that. You watched that. She galvanizes that horse and she gets that horse home. She is unbelievable. But in the same way, Rachel Blackmore galvanized Honeysuckle to get home at Cheltenham. It's amazing watching it, and I have nothing but admiration for the jockeys who can do it. You can tell the ones there's a certain synergy between and connection between the two, between the horse and the jockey. And Class comes into it as well, but that's another video. Class is another video. But yeah, a scoring system is great, 75% to get you somewhere. The last 25% is watching the horses and assessing the horse by watching them and how they're the manner in which they finish a race is critically important, and how they race. And when you hear about the jockey, you know, getting the horse covered up so it doesn't worry out of it, worry itself out of a race, it needs cover, and then produce it late, because some of them, like I've said, you know, you'll have seen horses, we've all seen horses with the form figures second, third, second, fourth, second. There's a reason for that. They don't like going to the front. They don't like it. And you have to time them. The jockey has to time them absolutely perfectly. But if you've got time, watch Holly Doyle on Sisters in the Sky a couple of months ago, winning. That was how to ride a horse. It was amazing. So yeah, the next video I do shall be one explaining about how you get some kind of sense and reason from when the going changes and you're looking at the standard time, you're thinking, how the hell do I sort this out? I'm just going to show you what I do, how I to assess a race against a time as part of decision making on whether a horse is a bet, whether its form is worth it, etc., etc. Right, okay. I know there's one of these on Amazon. I'll leave it with you. Cheers. Bye for now. Bye-bye.